Hey, hope you're having an amazing day. Cutie's Creations here with another message on the restitution in America for all African Americans. So what that means is $2.9 million for every single African American present day. Mental health, healthcare for free, with the focus on mental health, free education for all African Americans, financial literacy, and judicial reform. We feel as though these are the cornerstone to a more happier, healthier life. This balances the scales in the ways of justice and freedoms that we need to be allotted for the contribution that we have put in, which we will touch on. So yesterday we touched on, and for the last couple of days we touched on just the history of education, how it was denied to us, and how we have taken a lot of that power back and had really brought it into our communities again, and how the current administration are now threatening the ones that are there by wanting to take those public education, which is very, very important. Even if it isn't of high quality at this time, you need something to stabilize yourself, and those threats that are of the current administration to take that away are real and current, and we need to do something about it. My contribution is going to be for the restitution, but we need to do something for all Americans, but we're not going to touch on that today. I just feel like this is not something that can be ignored or put on the back burner, and it needs to be addressed as fast as possible, because some people's education, the only means of education is public education. That's the reason why we have it in the first place, that you can get at least some education so you can be able to maintain life. So today we're focusing on, like I told you in the last video, we're going to focus on healthcare and the focus on mental health. So the mental health in America, during the colonial era, which was 1600s and 1700s, I want you to pay attention to this timeline, because we were dead smack in the middle of slavery during these times when they were making these developments in strides in healthcare and mental health. And like I told you, most of these came off the backs of us. But I'm going to read you from here, and then I'm going to break down what that means in this era that they're talking about, and how we're left out of it, and then how it affects your body. So in the 1600s and the 1700s, in early America, mental health was poorly understood and often attributed to supernatural causes, moral failings, or divine punishment. Individuals with mental illness were frequently confined to almshouses, jails, or kept at home under family care. There were no formal treatments, and harsh conditions prevailed. Some communities relied on religious interventions, while others turned to folk remedies. Okay, so during this time, we're dead smack in the middle of slavery. But during the 1600s, we started making our own strides in medicine. And the reason why they thought that it came from curses and everything was because we were studying the medicine from an herbology type of stance. And they didn't understand that. And because they didn't understand it, they said that you were putting a hex on someone. I've told you that the early education was of the Bible in the 1600s. So they truly believed that these were like divine punishments from God and everything, and not understanding how the mental health works with the body. And because we were under such a high stress environment being in slavery, that we were the most affected by it, but we weren't able to even speak up on it. In the colonial community, they had at least some form of theory and would send you to a priest or some type of religious person and everything to try to get you some help. Well, there was no one for us. We had to come across it ourselves, and hence why they started saying like, oh, those are hexes and curses and everything. But it wasn't. It was us trying to figure out a way to heal ourselves in a high stress environment, as well as how to heal others so they wouldn't suffer from it as well. And because we were so dependent upon in our physical labor, we had to make sure that our mental matched up with that, so we wouldn't be killed or beaten to that. Well, beaten to within an inch of our lives. So we were trying to come to a place where we would be comfortable with slavery, which was terrible, but it was better than not. It was better than death for us. I remember a few years back, Kanye West saying it was a choice. Yeah, you have a choice, but it's between life or death. And people weren't willing to give up their lives, so they stayed in it. And then once they got them mentally, you were stuck, you were there. So you've seen thousands of people be mentally manipulated as well as physically manipulated as well. It was a terrible time. And we need to figure out a way to move forward. And I truly believe that this restitution is a very good stepping stone for that. So now, how does it show up in your body? Stress in the nervous system. When you experience stress, anxiety, or prolonged mental strain, your body's nervous system responds by activating the fight or flight response. This triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which can sharpen focus in the short term, but over time may lead to fatigue, headaches, and even nervous system imbalance. Your body struggles to return to its rest state. So what that means is when you have stress on a regular basis, your body starts to react to that by trying to get back into balance with the nervous system. And when it can't get back into balance, it releases these hormones that try to do that. Your body is amazing. It will try to repair itself at all times and for all costs. But if you are constantly put into a stressful situation, it will be the decline of your mental health, and it will be the decline of your body. So we were put into high stress situations, so much so that we have manifested a lot of the racism now, or we have become the racist now because of those high stress situations. I like to call some of those high stress situations, the reaction to it is pleasure seeking. So your thing might be with food, which they say your cortisol levels go up, so you crave sugar. So you might think like, oh, I'm an emotional eater. No, you're not an emotional eater. You're just not understanding that your cortisol levels are way up because of that stressful situation. So now you're seeking things that will pleasure you instead of nourish you. So, and then you might see it in like people who abuse drugs and alcohol. Well, people who abuse drugs and alcohol are still pleasure seeking. What it is with that imbalance with the adrenaline, you start to crave that, and anything that makes your heart go faster or what makes your heart slow down, you now crave that reaction, and you're looking for that reaction on a regular basis, so you will abuse drugs and alcohol. How it shows up in other areas. Well, you might be hyposexualized. They produce hormones that will make you horny, and when you are in that state, you want to go and have intercourse at that time, but it's another pleasure-seeking moment. Your body is reacting to all of these different things, and now you think like, oh, I need this and everything, but that's not the truth. It's really what your body has produced, and it's been triggered with your environment to want these things, and you will seek them, and then you will be successful at getting them. What's another good one? I would say shopping, because that's one of my things and everything, but it's still a pleasure-seeking thing. Oh, smoking cigarettes. This is one of mine. When you have a malfunction and you've been in fight or flight mode too long, and someone has silenced you, that you weren't able to express yourself, you will develop what they would call, because like some people develop just a thyroid, and it'll be like your thyroid gland is too big. Well, my thyroid gland was attacking my thyroid gland. And what that means is you will have you'll be in a constant state of wanting something in your mouth. It's oral fixation, if you will. So like my overeating came with that. I wouldn't be hungry, but I would want something in my mouth because my thyroid is attacking my thyroid. It gives me extra saliva. It makes a certain taste in my mouth, and it makes me crave to put something in there. So I was always battling with cigarettes. I'm still battling with it. I'm not done with the battle because I still want them. I have slowed down tremendously, but I have gotten in a couple here and there, and neither here nor there. These are all pleasure-seeking things that your body is reacting to. And what I'm telling you is, with the mental health being affected, these are all reactions to that, and we have been birthed into a high stress situation from the time that we came here to the present moment, and less acknowledgement of it has made us suffer more. With obesity, with heart disease, with diabetes, with high blood pressure, all of these things start to erupt because of these high stress situations that we have been in for so long, where none of the traumas or the mental health from the side of the abuser is being passed on to us. None of these things are being addressed, and that just creates a more hectic environment for it to keep growing. And we don't want it to keep growing. We want to have this particular time to be able to get ourselves healthy, to heal, to be able to move in a direction that will be healthy for our neighbors, for our kids. The first thing that they do is demonize African Americans for their violent behavior. Well, where did you think we got it from? For their, they say that there's lazy, but I don't get that. When you are in a constant state of depression, you find it hard to move. And if you were born into that, and that was what was taught to be normal, then how could you do anything else? You have so much trauma that you have to start dealing with the trauma. But like I told you, there is no time for it because they have put you in the fight or flight. So you're constantly just surviving. You're not acknowledging anything that's going on with you mentally, and only addressing the physical issues. So if you're affected by it with the weight, you try to go on a diet and everything, but not realizing that your struggle with weight came from your mental health. Your mental health came from depression. Your anxiety and depression came from something that was way before you were even born, and now it has been birthed into you, and you have to start addressing those issues in order for you to be able to even start with a diet. We got so far off the rails. Mental health is so important. Your nervous system goes off of it. So if you're in a constant state of flight or fight, your body will respond to that. And that's where we have been since we have came to this country to present day. Is it the same as us being in slavery? No. Is it the same as us being under Jim Crow laws? No, it's not. But if you take someone's mental, you have them for eternity, because everything is about your mental. So if I believe that there's racism, even when there isn't any in my environment, I will metastasize those things for myself. If I believe, well, I can tell you this guy who I used to date, he did not come in contact with anyone outside of his job that was racist. He had never. We had a whole discussion about it, but he was like one of those people who was taught it. So he would always say like really racist things, and I'd be like, why do you act like that? You don't even see white people outside your job. And when he would speak upon the white people at his job, he would say it so negatively, and I was like, these people you have worked with for over 19 years. They have given you a job. They have helped you take care of your family. You say you love your job and everything. You barely even get to see these people and everything, but you have such a negative aspect of them. And he came back and was like, you're right. Like, I've never experienced really any racism, like none, at the hands of the people I work with. It's just my perception of white people. And I was like, you have to, in order for you to get rid of racism, you have to acknowledge that you have a little racism in you as well. And how do you deal with that? And where did it come from? Just follow the trail. But either way, this has nothing to do with him. I would just give you an example of how you can manifest those things into your life, because the mentality and the mental strain that they have had us under for so long, that even when it doesn't exist, we make it exist in our world. And he did nothing but go home and go to work, go home and go to work. So he had very low contact with anybody that was white, but to him, racism was the most top issue he could ever talk about. This was the most terriblest thing, all of these things, and he had never fully, at his own words, he had never fully experienced any racist things because he lived in a black neighborhood. That white people that he worked with, he's a person who sanitizes the hospitals and everything, so he didn't encounter these people. He's there after hours, so there was very few people he came in contact with. So I'm saying all this to say that when someone puts you under the type of mental strain that we have been under, yes, we will manifest it more into our lives because they still have us mentally, and that's the reason why it's so important for us to have free health care with the focus on mental health. And I know they're going to be like, well, you get it through Medicaid. It's not enough. Medicare and Medicaid did a really great job. Obama did a really great job of making sure people were insured, but the bill itself did not have enough in it for us to be able to feel safe with using it. You can only get so many therapy sessions, and how many therapy sessions do you need for somebody who's been traumatized before they even knew that they were born? Who are experiencing it in their mind every single day because of the fact that mentally they have been working on us. So these things need to be addressed in the ways that are important to us, that are of the most valuable to us, and make it for free for us, because we're suffering the worst from it. And in order to have a balanced society, we need to have that in place. So once again, I thank you so much for your time, energy, and I appreciate you guys for coming and checking in. Let me know what you thought about this discussion. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. And I will see you soon. We are focusing on mental health for the next 7 to 8 days. So welcome. And we welcome you here, and we want you here. And I hope you have an amazing day.